Yesterday, President Trump's first full day in office, and it was a full day. Well, immigration authorities have already begun executing the president's deportation plan based on his executive orders and other authorities granted to him as president, arresting over 300 illegal immigrants who have committed violent crimes, including murder and rape. Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, says that they are concentrating on the worst first, those who are public safety threats and national security threats. And what else does the plan entail? Well, joining me now to discuss this is Senator John Cornyn of Texas, who serves on 5 Senate committees, including the Judiciary Committee and the Select Committee on Intelligence. Senator Cornyn, welcome back to Washington Watch. Good to see you.
Thank you, Tony. Good to be with you.
All right, a burst. This is shock and all as the president is coming in with everything loaded and ready to go. I have to ask this question. I think a lot of people are thinking about this, Senator, as 300 have been arrested, and these are rapists, murderers. Why were they loose to begin with?
Well, it boggles my mind, but the Biden administration had this idea that you didn't need any kind of limitations on people coming across the border. They basically released anybody and everybody that showed up, whether they claimed asylum or not. And unfortunately, this open borders resulted, and the volume of people coming across overwhelmed the Border Patrol to the point that probably around 2 million gotaways came across. So with the Biden policies welcoming people who showed up and claimed asylum or otherwise to turn themselves in to authorities, the 2 million gotaways, you have to believe they were up to no good. And unfortunately, they included a lot of the people that you just referred to that Mr. Homan and the Immigration and Customs Enforcement picked up yesterday.
But they obviously knew their whereabouts. They knew they existed. They knew they were here. This means the Biden administration had that same information. They knew that as well.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, the Biden administration discouraged any sort of cooperation with local law enforcement. As you know, many times individuals who are in the country illegally are picked up for other crimes, whether it's DUI, DWI, or something else. Domestic violence and the like, and they're required to notify ICE, and ICE will then come pick them up. But if the local law enforcement agencies don't cooperate, so-called sanctuary cities, then there's no way for ICE to know they're there and to come pick them up. And plus, ICE has really basically been neutered as a result of the Biden administration policies. It's really blows my mind, but I think President Trump is bringing common sense, something that's not that common around here in Washington, D.C., back to the issue, and I'm glad to see this early start.
So walk us through this, Senator Cornyn, best you know, and I know you've had conversations with the president and administration. How is this going to unfold in the days going forward?
Well, I think Mr. Homan, who's been put in charge of repatriating or deporting people who are not legally here in the first place, and I assume they will go through some sort of prioritization schedule, and that includes the worst of the worst, some of whom we've seen, but there are thousands of people who have committed crimes, who have been convicted of those crimes, who are in the United States in various places. So I think it's going to be a very intensive effort to try to locate them and try to get them returned out of the United States into their home country. This is really the first step, but I think this also sends a message that there are consequences associated with coming to the United States illegally, something that the Border Patrol tells me is absolutely essential to establishing deterrence to prevent people from coming in the first place, assuming they're otherwise law-abiding. But I think this is going to be a long haul, and as I said, we're just getting started.
Well, speaking of deterrence, based on executive orders that the president has signed, one regarding invasion at the southern border and national security issues, he's deployed up to 1,500 additional active duty troops to the southern border, which I'm sure Texas appreciates. What will their role be at the border?
Well, there are some limitations on what the military can do under existing law, but primarily what it will do is to free up the Border Patrol and Customs and Border Protection that are expressly authorized by law to deal with illegal immigration. It will free up some of those resources. Due to the sheer volume of people coming across the border during the Biden administration, those federal officials were overwhelmed. And that necessitated the Governor Abbott and others deploying National Guard there to help with the Border Patrol, just to provide some basic personnel to deal with housing, transportation, and things like that. So they will provide essential manpower, but we're going to have to train and hire and train more immigration customs enforcement officials under the Trump administration, and to build detention facilities. So no more catch and release, which was the subject matter of another one of President Trump's executive orders.
Senator, we just have about 20 seconds left, but I'm assuming that Congress is going to lean in because the president can't do it all by executive order.
That's right. Well, we will, this afternoon, 4:30, the House will pass the Lake and Riley Act, which we passed here in the Senate. And that will help prioritize people who have committed crimes in the United States, and put them on the fast track to deportation. That's a good start.
All right. Thank you, Senator.